So we mentioned Shane Douglas earlier. You know, when you're trying to leave ECW and go to the WWF, he's coming the opposite direction. You know, obviously he didn't have the best experience. Is he telling you avoid Sean? Vince is full of shit. They're gonna take your polo shirt out of your check or whatever the issues were. What were his be mindful and be wary of this? What was that?
He was really sour on the experience. We had that well-documented friendship going back to very early 1986. So I started in 85, but my first training session with DiNucci was January of 86. No, my first training session in Freedom, Pennsylvania with the other guys. Up until then, I've been training before Tommy D's independent shows when I got the ring set up in time. So I'd known Shane a long time. He was just really sour on that experience. But I also realized that he was giving me a perspective from a sour point of view.
Yes.
And I do remember that I thought that we should try to get in that Cactus Shane Douglas rivalry before he went to WWE, and it didn't happen. But as soon as Shane came back from WWE, he's like, "You want to do that match? Want to do that match now?" We did end up having a really good match, Shane and I, that set up the final match for me and Mikey, and I believe it was based around my departure to WWE and culminated with me I quit match with The Rock being handcuffed and calling out for Mikey Whipwreck, and then Mikey just waylaying me with a chair shot, belying his, the size of his arms, right? Like some people think I was the sickest chair shot they've seen because I was handcuffed. I believe I was in the figure four, something to that effect. So we did. I was able to do great business with ECW on my way out. Like, had the type of heat as a heel that you didn't think you could get, but I was able to get by, pushing the right buttons. And Bruce went on to say, like, that's what sold Vince was my ability to tell stories and to cut promo. I don't know if Vince had ever seen my promos, though.
I see.
I don't know if Vince had ever seen my promos. Because now, fast forward to when I'm doing these promos, probably very early 1996, probably January 1996, I'm cutting these promos with a new character. I don't want it to just be Cactus Jack with a mask. Everyone seems to like them, except Vince. And that's when I said to Jimmy Cornette was the guy who would break the bad news to me. At that time, Jimmy was in the WWE office. And he said, Vince hates the promos. I thought Vince loved my promos. He told me he had. And Jimmy said, Cactus, I'm not sure Vince has ever seen one of your promos. And I went, became really scared, right? Because, the Mankind stuff, maybe it was a little over the top, but I thought it was very moody and creative and, the stuff done like it was done in a dungeon, and I've got the George the Rat crawling all over me, which I wasn't crazy about, but I wasn't going to let it stand in the middle of a run. So I was really, really concerned when I learned that Vince didn't necessarily know much about some of the people he was bringing in.
It's amazing to me that you think perhaps the Mankind character was a little much. So anyway, Mantar and Damien Demento, Santa Claus, Bastion Booger, and Abe Knuckleball Schwartz and I, like, come on, that's not too much.
Yeah, well, I was definitely airing grievances with society.
Yeah.
And I was going with the shrieking, which eventually burned my voice out. The high pitch.
It was so memorable.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good way to enter. And it was surprising how few people knew. The only people who knew I was Cactus Jack was that portion of the crowd that watched WCW.
Or ECW.
Yeah. I'd say 75% of the people had no idea who I was. And that's what made the storytelling in 97 so valuable, is that I was revealing things to the audience that they did not know and found astonishing.
I still think, as much as I love Cactus Jack and all that he accomplished, the Mankind performance.
Yeah.
That was you with the volume turned all the way up. The pulling the hair out, one entrance music, one exit music. We're going to get into all that, but there's so many layers to that as opposed to this guy's just a madman.
Right, yeah.
Well, this is a little different. This is a crazy person.
Yeah.
And it was phenomenal.